Yeah, somebody just posted the vestibular system on the chat here, a live stream. But the vestibular system doesn't detect motion. That was something I was taught growing up, that it detects motion. It doesn't. It detects acceleration. Big difference. And we are able to detect acceleration pretty easily. We're not very good at detecting velocity. All we can do with velocity is measure that relative motion with respect to something else.
Oh, yeah.
Well then, doofus Danny, the dipshit astronomer, since the Earth in your ball-tard spinning space monkey religion is rotating, hence has an angular velocity, ergo the Earth is constantly accelerating, and
we are able to detect acceleration pretty easily.
Can you please explain to us why we can't detect it easily? Por favor?
You are so dumb. Damn.
And we're off. As usual, if you'd like to support this channel, there are PayPal and Patreon links in the info box below. Got a banger of a show today. Everyone's favorite, Coriolis effect. We also have the beautiful Betty Van Velsen back from vacation. How's it going out there, Betty?
Yeah, great. And I'm back. Even greater to be back. Is that good?
Is that it?
Is it too short?
That's what she said.
I can ramble on a little. You wouldn't like it.
I'm not going to like it. No, we want you to ramble a little bit because we all missed you last week.
I heard that, yeah, somebody said here, Betty QE was a lost puppy without you.
That's not too far from the truth.
I like to hear the squeaky sound that the puppy makes when he's abandoned.
Stop mumbling.
I want to hear the sound of an abandoned puppy.
There you go. That sounds better. Why would you like to hear the sounds of abandoned puppy?
Oh, for you, of course, because then it makes that statement true.
Makes that statement true. Jeez. Yeah.
You need me to be able to kick me around a little bit so that you have your side. Kick.
I never kick you around.
Yes, you do.
As far as you know.
Exactly.
What else we got in here?
We got Righteous Force and Adam Meekin.
Hello, Kiwi.
Hello?
Hello.
That's pretty good for me, right? Let's move on to Adam Meekin.
Yeah, that's it. You go off gaming. Just.
Jeez, oh man, you're loud today. No more mumbling from you, at least for the first 10, 15 seconds.
What, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, am I a bit Lord Melchett?
Yeah, your mic is pretty powerful today.
I'm sat up, that's why. I need a question. I've got questions. Betty's back.
Mm-hmm.
Am I devoid of any roles whatsoever? I don't need to look at chat anymore. I need to remind the super chat. Betty's back, yeah?
Yes.
Lovely. She's going to do all the insulting of you, and somebody comes in giving you loads of excess praise. She's going to deal with it, right?
Yes.
Brilliant.
Huh?
Welcome back, Betty.
Is that all that I did? Wow, I need to have some salary, I think.
Celery? Why would you need celery? Would you need more fiber?
No, I need money.
You could sell the celery. Money.
She could sell the celery.
Salary.
Oh.
Yeah, celery.
Yeah, from salt, right?
No, the
People want,
crunchy things that come with
were paid
wings.
in
No, the
salt.
crunchy things that come with wings.
So maybe an insult is that you didn't get salt as a salary.
We better get out of this.
We need to go to etymology. I like words to see what they lead to and where they came from.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. You said you need etymology. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
look up celery.
it comes from salt. So I'm asking you. It's your language, crying out loud. You must know something about it.
It's not mine. I didn't create it.
You create your language every day. I hear new things to call people by you.
Well, I do remember this. You are right. It is salt. From the Latin salarium, originally denoting a Roman soldier's allowance to buy salt.
Told you. Back to mumbling.
That's because I'm looking at the screen. Is that better?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
But I think it's your problem, QE, with the sound.
No.
You need to talk to Nathan.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. Because you hear us mumbling. Maybe you need a hearing aid.
That could possibly be the case.
Ah. Well, they have these fancy ones, My mom got some of these hearing aids, and now she can hear the telephone on her phone, right? Because usually she didn't hear it, and now it directly calls her on those hearing aids.
That's
And
wonderful.
she can also have the television respond to her, and she has just to use her phone to get the sound up and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I thought so.
All right, so we're not gonna piddle around today. We're gonna get right into this because we got a lot of information to go over. I want to stress, unless you got something to add, Betty. I don't want to be rude.
Well, the thing is that you said that we were going to sidestep a lot, but and now you say the other way around. But that's good. I think it's good to go down to business. I think people are waiting for it. So
There's just a lot of information, and this time, I've went over this through the years, right? I mean, this isn't the first time I'm presenting on the Coriolis effect. Maybe there's a lot of new people that have come in when I say new over the past year or so. And I just got this feeling that when I'm listening to others talk about not only the Coriolis effect, but velocity, acceleration, different frames of reference, that they just don't got it, right? And Adam and I were talking about it the other day. And like I said, I've went over these topics. I did a couple numpty clips, and I've done other things. And when we're doing like the treatments, or Nathan's doing his version of the treatments, I don't hear a lot of people saying, "Whoa, wait a second, this, and that." I don't hear that, and then that's what kind of triggered me to go ahead and do this presentation. I didn't change it. I added a few things. So we're not going to go to the website to where the public sees. That's fine. That presentation's good to go. I added a couple things to this one to maybe stress some points that maybe some haven't connected yet. The show even more of a fiasco. Yeah.
Good. Is this what we were chatting about?
Yes.
Brilliant. Because this is the killer. And I want to make apologetics for us. Because you gave us this beforehand, and it just cuts it off at the knees, like all your stuff. And I suppose, being honest, significance of it didn't hit me. It did. It slapped me in the face the other day, which is why I said, we've got to do this. I won't say what it is till you get to it. I think with a lot of it, as the pride we had of figuring out that it wasn't Coriolis, it was Globiolis, and having the geeky maths fun with that, which is again arguing after the point, is it's been fun, and it helps you understand how they're brainwashed. But point I think you're going to reiterate tonight, like I said, just cuts them off at the knees. I think we've all heard it, but maybe we've not all recognised how devastating it is.
Yes.
I'll say no more.
Yes.
The website's back up, by the way.
Yeah, it was
So-
back up the next day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
No, but we haven't been on, so I just thought I'd say it. It's back up and she's running smooth.
That's the way I like it. Cut him at the knees, baby.
It is, Neil. You wait till we get it, and people will hear it, and then we'll explain it.
Yeah.
How devastating it is.
Yeah, I'm going to stop. There's two places where I'm going to sort of stop for emphasis. They're both interrelated and connected. Then after I'm done, I'm going to show you a shining example of Globetard Dork just torpedoing himself with this same subject. But we'll get to that. All right? Let's get rolling. So I wanted to start here before we got into the meat of the Coriolis effect and talk about, frames of reference. 1 second. I forgot something. For our friends in Discord. Betty, you should have reminded me of this. Your job.
Oh, come on. Not
So-
hand me.
So is everyone good now?
I
You mean
hope
the
so.
professionalism and respect we're not afforded over at Flat Earth Debate to be able to see the presentation? Yeah,
Yes.
it's great.
So, let's start out with frames of reference. What we're dealing with here is two of them. A non-inertial reference frame is one that is accelerating with respect to an inertial reference frame. An inertial reference frame is one with a constant velocity, and that velocity could be zero. Now, velocity has both magnitude, which is speed, and direction. Acceleration is any change in magnitude or direction, i.e., a change of velocity. I'm going to leave this up here for a second or so. This is very important to recognize. This is fundamental. You're going to hear echoes of this through the presentation, pointing back to this. So you have to have a grasp on what these terms and phrases mean. I'll do it again. A non-inertial reference frame is one that is accelerating with respect to an inertial reference frame. In the fairy tale Earth, it's the Earth that's accelerating. It's rotating. It has an angular velocity. That means it's accelerating. An inertial reference frame is one with a constant velocity, which could be zero. Now, unbeknownst to them, their inertial reference frame is the atmo. Okay? Now,
So
velocity has both magnitude, that's speed, and direction. And acceleration, go ahead.
So, on a merry-go-round, right? That's the non-inertial reference frame.
If you're standing on the merry-go-round and the merry-go-round is rotating, that is the non-inertial reference frame. It is accelerating.
Okay. And then when I'm standing and looking at my child circling on that merry-go-round, that's the inertial reference frame.
Yes, the one that's not accelerating, the one without angular velocity, in other words.
Okay. Got it.
Okay. Like I said, this is going to echo throughout. You have to have a fundamental knowledge of these terms and phrases before you jump in here, or you're going to be confused. So I hope that helped everyone. Go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
No, it's righteous. I heard from Droid that he says we don't see his screen in YouTube. Is that true?
My God. Let me do it again. Thanks. That is true. Let's do this again. I don't mind at all. In fact, I like that it did. Say again?
The repetition is required. Just get this in your heads, guys. Get this in your head so you know what these things mean.
Yes.
So
Wait a
then when
second.
they're referenced,
Wait a second, Adam. Betty had an insult. Go ahead, Betty.
No, I just wanted to compliment people like Divergent Droid and then Righteous to let you know, because if you didn't have that backup system for these people, you would like be talking to a thumbnail, right?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, yeah. Thank you very much, Righteous, and the guys out there in chat to make a point of it. Yep. Now let's do it
Somebody
again.
would say something.
What do you want, Neil?
I'm saying I hope somebody would say something if they noticed that the screen ain't up.
You didn't.
Because I'm on a phone.
Now, to be fair, Neil, it's on screen for me, and I'd noticed, and I didn't say I didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah, that would have fooled everyone because it is. Just hold on, Neil. You're roboting. It's horrible. So just to let everyone know that in Discord they can see it because I shared my screen. So they wouldn't have known unless they were watching the YouTube live stream. So thank you very much, Righteous. Like I said, that's okay. I don't have a problem with this. Because guess what? We're going to do it again. A non-inertial reference frame is one that is accelerating with respect to an inertial reference frame. An inertial reference frame is one with a constant velocity, which could be zero. Now, you already know by these two statements that you have to know what acceleration and velocity is. So velocity has both magnitude, speed, and direction. Acceleration is any change in that magnitude or direction, i.e. a change of velocity. All right?
Ooh, good question then.
Yep.
As Betty talked about the roundabout. If I'm on that and it's spinning at a set speed, is it accelerating?
Yes, because it has an angular component. Direction.
Exactly, and that's changing.
Yep.
We've got a change of direction, so we have acceleration, even though there's no change in
speed. Correct. That's why thank you, Adam. That's why I highlighted the or part. That's very important. Thank you for concretizing that. Shout out to Cathexis.
Oh my lord.
Shout out to Cathexis. I was searching for that word and it came to me, Ricky.
Oh, that's a long time ago that I heard that word. Yeah. Nice. See, then you make up language, or at least somebody did.
So let's make sure that this is understood. Everyone got this. We might come back to it. So the Earth is not spinning, for fuck's sake. For the Coriolis effect to exist, you must have, that is, the necessary conditions. Number one, two differing frames of reference. One rotating coordinate system, remember, that's non-inertial, the Earth. And one non-rotating coordinate system, that's inertial, that's the Atmo, and anything in it. He's going to tell you right now, Seagard Douglas, the Coriolis effect, from Introduction to Ocean Sciences, Second Addiction, Critical Concept Reminders. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, that's Atmo, and water masses, that's clouds and water vapor, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to do what? Rotate independently. Independently from what? Well, the air and the water masses. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates. They are subject to an apparent deflection, that's a non-actual deflection, called the Coriolis effect. To an observer, rotating on the Earth or rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in a straight line appear, not actual, to travel in a curved path on the Earth. That, in a nutshell, is the Coriolis effect. That and nothing else. In other words, anything not tethered to the Earth is freely moving. Number two, the object in question, not physically attached to the rotating coordinate system, that's the Earth, appears to deflect, that is, moves independently of the rotating coordinate system. I just said what Sigurd Douglas just said. From a vantage point anywhere on the rotating coordinate system, that's the Earth. So, if the Coriolis effect exists, this is very important, with respect to the Earth, if the Coriolis effect exists with respect to the Earth, then a flight from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles, nonstop, traveling at 500 miles an hour airspeed with both locations roughly the 35th degree north latitude, that is both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be approximately 1.5 hours. No way around this. But it's approximately 4.5 hours. The Charlotte to LA flight, the airspeed is 500 miles an hour, typical cruising speed for a commercial airliner. The ground speed, because the Earth is allegedly rotating in their fairy tale, so you have to add them. 500 miles an hour plus 860 miles an hour alleged rotation speed, that equals 1360 miles an hour. Why? Because you're taking off from Charlotte, North Carolina, and the Earth is spinning in your face, so you have to add them together. Make sense? It should. This is about second grade level math. So in my example, two differing frames of reference, one the Earth and two atmo. That should be, let me do this right now. Why? Because atmosphere is a contradiction in terms, a paradox. Atmo and everything in it. Two, the plane in the atmosphere is freely moving. That is, it's not attached to the rotating coordinate system, the Earth, and is flying in a straight path. In other words, based on the law of non-contradiction, each, the Coriolis effect with respect to the Earth and the Charlotte flight at 1.5 hours are either both true or both false. The flight is most assuredly false. Therefore, the Earth is not spinning, ergo the spinning ball goes by way of the dodo bird, or you're a stationary ball geocentrist. Simple as that. My new 5-step plan, well, back when I put this out, it was new. It's not new anymore. It's better known as the 5-point palm globetard exploding fairy tale religion technique. If there's a no spin, there's a flat earth wins. How about that? Does that work for you? Yeah, it's not spinning. See if you can follow this. Point number one. If the Coriolis effect exists on the Earth, A, the Earth must be spinning. Rotating. That is the non-inertial reference frame. It's accelerating. B, the object affected by the Coriolis must be moving through the non-rotating inertial reference frame, untethered to the rotating non-inertial reference frame, such as airplanes, helicopters, balloons, missiles, bullets, etc. Let's take a look at this. Many people have seen this quite a number of times. On the top one up here, we are overlooking this frame from the inertial reference frame. See this dot right here? That's a numpty on the dot rotating around on this fairy tale spinning ball. As we see this ball move, it's not attached to the rotating frame. The ball's being thrown. So it is in the inertial reference frame along with us. As you can see, it is going straight. However, if you are the numpty down here on the spinning monkey ball and you're rotating with this frame, then the ball appears to curve. Appears to curve. Why? Well, because you are rotating. You see how this brown one, you see that? You are rotating, giving the appearance the ball is actually curving, but it's not. It's going straight. Like it says here, in the inertial frame of reference, upper part of the picture, the black ball moves in a straight line. However, the observer, red dot, who is standing in the rotating non-inertial frame of reference, you see that? He is in the non-rotating reference frame. Oh, I'm sorry, the non-inertial reference frame. He is rotating, making it appear that the ball curves. Everyone got that? Hopefully they do. It's just as simple as that. Point number 2. The Coriolis effect, also called the Coriolis force, is defined as the apparent deflection of objects, such as airplane, wind, missiles, ocean currents, moving in a straight path relative to the Earth's surface. That's from formerly physicsabout.com. Point number 3. So, at this point, as long as it's established, and it is, that airplanes are subject to the Coriolis effect, we now drop the Coriolis effect argument. The actual argument is Coriolis existence. That is what affords the conditions of the Coriolis effect. You have to have the necessary conditions. Like I said, the conditions that afford the existence of the Coriolis effect, what are those? 2 differing frames of reference. So, therefore, point number 4. The velocity of a plane airspeed traveling due west or due east or due west must be either added or subtracted to or from the velocity of the rotating Earth, depending on the direction of travel of the plane. So if a plane is traveling due west at 500 miles an hour airspeed and the Earth is traveling due east at 860 miles an hour ground speed, the velocities are added together. We did it above. 500 miles an hour air plus 860 miles an hour ground. That equals a total of 1,360 miles an hour. So a plane traveling due west with an airspeed of 500 miles an hour has a total ground velocity of 1,360 miles an hour. I just added them. Point number 5, to find the t or time the plane flight would take, we use the formula distance equals rate times time. So rearranging to solve for t would be d over r equal t. So the distance from Charlotte, North Carolina to LAX is 2,115 miles. The rate from above that we just went over is 1,360 miles an hour. So what you do is you take 2,115 divided by the 1,360. That's going to give you your time. That flight time must be 1.5 hours. Has to be. Does this flight time exist? Therefore, the Earth is not spinning. Ergo, the spinning monkey ball goes by way of the dodo bird or your stationary ball geocentrist. It's as simple as that, folks. Voila. Now, spinning space monkeys. Take 5 steps. This is about to get good. If you thought that was good, you ain't seen anything yet. Here we are. Brain dead baltards. We've all heard this. The atmosphere, paradox, spins with the Earth. So then, please explain how the Coriolis effect can exist when the necessary conditions for it to exist are 2 separate coordinate systems. That's reference frames. One rotating, that's non-inertial, the Earth, and one non-rotating, inertial, the atmo, and everything in it. We already went over the visual and how they described it in Wiki. So this is a violation of the law of contradiction number 1. It's going to get worse. Right about now. P.S. If the atmosphere, contradiction in terms, paradox, spins with the Earth, which, by the way, violates Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law, Avogadro's law, parts of Dalton's law, the second law of thermodynamics, and Brownian motion, then all we'd have is a single rotating, non-inertial spinning reference frame. This is the point where I want you to pay attention real closely. This is one of those emphasis points. We're going to stay here for a little bit. So, from Britannica.com, the Coriolis force, also called Coriolis effect in classical mechanics, an inertial force, very important, described by the 19th century French engineer and mathematician Gustave Gaspard Coriolis in 1835. Did everyone see this? Inertial force? I hope so. Most of you should be getting it about right now. If you don't, it's coming to you in spades. The asshat booger-eating baltards claim that the atmosphere spins with the Earth. That belly-laughing train wreck, right? Which renders the Earth and the atmosphere, their atmosphere paradox, one constantly accelerating non-inertial reference frame. Yeah, you getting it now? Here's the question then. How then can you have an inertial force, the Coriolis force up here, without an inertial reference frame, you ignorant mongs? I'm staying here. I'm dropping anchor right here for a few minutes. I need an answer to that question.
You ignorant friggin' mongs.
Yep. See, all we got is pretender clowns out here. They're mindlessly parroting each other in Wiki and absolutely spade shovel in the face. This is remedial nonsense that I'm bringing up here. They would fail junior high intro to physics. Their physics, by the way. Even in their physics, they would fail. Go ahead.
This is the switcheroo, as Chocolate describes it. And as I said at the beginning, this is part of the con. The next part is where I head off when they start to give us Newtonian mechanics as well, and we understand these things.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, I know, and they get into this, but this is the underpinning part that we should always focus on. But I don't think it's as powerful as what's coming. I really don't. Neil, you're going to love it. But this is the switcheroo here. This is the law of non-contradiction that we're having. We can't have Coriolis if we've only got one reference frame. And if the flights are, as they're stated to be, and we should have two reference frames, at 1.5 hours, we don't have them. And what the ballers do in invoking in realizing this, is to invoke Globiolis to try and mitigate for those flight times. Again, what we have to realize is that fundamentally that's a denial of two reference frames. Whatever they're suggesting, and as I've said, they invoke forces, invoke actual forces to mitigate for this contradiction of Coriolis, to describe why it doesn't happen, but it still happens a little bit. And this is why. So yeah, that's the crux of it. You've got to make a choice, ballers. Have you got one reference frame or two? Has Nathan ruined your reference, his reference frames, as what do you call it said?
Sci-fi scam.
Yeah. Yeah, sci-fi Dan.
Sci-fi scam.
Yeah, sci-fi scam. That's why Nathan laughs so hard at that. Yeah, because the ballers there are demonstrating that they don't understand this, and they certainly don't understand the devastating implication if they've not got two reference frames on the ball. Done.
So my question, I'm sorry, somebody wanted to add something, or was that me echoing?
No, Superchat.
So super chat, no way.
Yeah, Superchat. Chris Chituras Fight the Good Fight. He says, funky tees, when we do business, we lose our shirt. Whatever that means.
That means Chris was on, wasn't he? He runs a t-shirt business. Shout out, Chris, for your business. Next time, put your web address in, dude.
What is funky tees?
I don't think he can. I don't think he can, Adam. I don't think he could put it in there. He can't. He doesn't have posting abilities. Why don't we just send it to you and you put it in?
Sold.
Okay. So back to this again. I want to repeat this one more time. The Coriolis force, also called the Coriolis effect. Oh, by the way, this is from Botanica.com, not QE.com. The Coriolis force, also called Coriolis effect in classical mechanics, is an inertial force. An inertial force. Described by the 19th century French engineer mathematician Gustave Gaspard Coriolis in 1835. So the asshat booger eating
Stop there.
baltards. Hold on. I'm not done yet.
Oh, it's important. You can say this bit afterwards, but you're saying it and you say it louder so that people think, no, it means something. But maybe we should just explain why you say it louder and it's in those big red letters. Shout out Paula here, you know. It's an inertial force, which means it's not real because it's in the inertial reference frame, which is the thing that's not moving, even though you're moving. And it's a head bender to grasp that that's not real, even though it says it's an inertial force. That's what's being described. It's not real. That's what Gaspard is describing. It's not real. It's an illusion.
Yeah. So
just to reiterate that point, because you, as soon as you hear the words an inertial force, and maybe address this, John, you think, it's real. It's inertial. And
I just want to keep it on this surface level, Adam, for right now.
Okay.
So the asshat booger eating baltards claim, in lieu of what we just went over, the atmosphere spins with the Earth. Well, if that were the case, then that would render the Earth and the their atmosphere paradox, one constantly accelerating non-inertial reference frame. Non-inertial reference frame. Right? So then, here comes the question then. It logically follows, how then can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame? Simple. It follows logically from those two statements. One from the definition of what it is, and one from your claim. Put those two together, well, it logically follows that the next question coming down the pipe is, how then can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame? I want an answer right fucking now.
Can't.
Because it's stupid. Baltards, you're stupid. If you're mindlessly parroting this, you're stupid. Plain and simple.
Plain?
Ignorant friggin' mongs.
Simple.
flat plane, Betty.
I'm not ready. We're going to move on. From Hillbilly Blue Balls, the redneck retard, a.k.a. the photosynthetic redneck, a.k.a. Mr. Gumby Football Field. It is one, his words, it is one non-inertial reference frame. That's where Coriolis takes place, not two reference frames. So, booger-eating hillbilly baltard bum sniffer, how do we have, here we go again, a Coriolis force, also called the Coriolis effect, an inertial force, described by the 19th century French engineer mathematician Gustave in 1835. How can you have an inertial force without an inertial reference frame? Bum sniffer. This is how stupid it is. A grown friggin' adult that would fail intro to friggin' just fundamental physics. This is even before junior high. This is called fraud, ladies and gentlemen. Either he's a dumb fuck or he's a liar. I think it's fraud. I think I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go down that road. Just that's your two choices. Go ahead, Dan.
I just said this is how twisted they have to think. Yeah? He's clearly intelligent enough to make the statement that it's one non-inertial reference frame, which has an implication. But to hold this together, hold the ball together, they have to invoke this. And then, like I say, invoke globiolis, which are real, actual taking off at 400 mile an hour backwards forces. Yeah, that's what they have to invoke. Keep the ball spinning with one non-inertial reference frame. And then they do lots of complicated mathematics, which is what entertained us so long. This shows you what they have to do. I don't think it's necessarily stupidity, because a stupid person can read the definition and recite it. This is complicit in trying to hold the ball together, yeah? Knowingly and making statements that go against basic mechanics.
Yes, sir. Well, like I said, I'll leave it up to the audience whether it's just outright fraud or he's a retard. Either one, it doesn't matter. Not to me. I hope everyone's getting or catching on to this. So let's go a little bit further. It's even crazier than what I just went over. Number 2, show the experiment or demonstration where gases or gas rotate in lockstep with a rotating solid body just 5 centimeters above the surface, then provide the mechanism. Gonna need to see that. You do understand gases that have no intermolecular bonds. Obviously rhetorical. So do gas molecules attach to the earth and each other? Shaking my friggin' head. By Velcro, superglue, molasses, pixie dust, or other. And gas molecules, that's air, by the way, vibrate and move freely and randomly at high speeds. Let me give a good visual for the idiot space monkeys. Let's see if they can handle this from Purdue Chemistry Department. See this up here? This is gases, okay? They go very, very fast in all different directions, Baltards, okay? It gives a juxtaposition between liquids and solids. You get this part? I doubt it. Question, how can gas molecules that make up the atmo, that move freely and randomly at high speeds, yet according to the intellectual elite Baltards, rotate in unison, that is not moving freely and randomly at high speeds, with the Earth from west to east? Yeah. Can you answer that? Violation of the law of non-contradiction, number 2. Number 3. Please explain the existence of east, north, and south surface, mid, and high-level winds on a spinning Baltard that has the atmo, that's air and wind, that equals gases, gas, rotating with it from west to east. That'll be a neat trick. Violation of law, non-contradiction, number 3. Bonus question, how can you have different wind speeds moving in different directions simultaneously at differing elevations of the atmo, all the while the atmo is collectively spinning east in unison the same? It'll be easier reconciling married bachelors. Violation of the law of non-contradiction, number 4. By the way, these are contradictory statements. Number 1, the atmosphere spins with the earth. Number 2, the existence of east, north, and south surface, mid, and high-level winds. You're going to have to make a choice there. Which one's false? Simple as that. Not even speaking to the differing wind directions and speeds at many levels of the atmo simultaneously. Primary school example, lower clouds moving different directions in speed than higher clouds. You guys ever seen these before? Am I the only one? You ever see that before? What's going on here? Baltards. What the hell is happening here? Now, the clouds aren't gases, but the clouds are being moved by gases. Get the picture? Looks like they're going in 2 different directions right there. Let's try another one. Maybe that'll help you. What about that? Oh boy, the tangled webs you weave. This can all be debunked by a retard second grader. It's really that simple, but we ain't gonna stop there. Why?
Are you
What?
that one?
Say again?
Are you that one?
Am I that one?
Yeah, the retard second grader.
Obviously not.
Because you debunked it.
Moreover, yeah, that doesn't mean that I'm a second grade retard. I said it can be debunked.
Oh, it's so beautifully. That's nice.
Thank you. Moreover, following the Mensa baller's yarn, every cubic nanometer of atmo traveling horizontally from the equator to the center of rotation must have differing tangential speeds. And every cubic nanometer of atmo rising in elevation from each respective horizontal cubic nanometer of atmo must have differing tangential speeds. In fact, the higher the elevation, the altitude, the faster they'll need to go to travel to keep up. And all of this rolling along at different speeds in unison east. Violation of the first law of thermodynamics and the law of non-contradiction, number 5. You guys going for a record here. This is so far beyond preposterous ludicrousness absurdity. Evolution, whatever that is, multiverses and married bachelors are in the corner blushing. And does anyone know how far up this increasing speed, rope-a-dope fairy tale spinning Atmo ends? I'd like to see that. It'll give a whole new meaning to guillotine wind shear. Just go off into ridiculousness deductively from your bullshit. Goodness gracious, people. P.S. I've already went over this. Are the gas molecules attached to each other by Velcro, glue, pixie dust, or other? And where is the energy coming from for the continuous shot in the arm injections needed to keep each successive cubic nanometer of Atmo higher elevation brethren in tow? Oh, and by the way, the Atmo is not a single entity. It's an inhomogeneous, anisotropic mixture of gases. It is not one entity, knuckle draggers. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the belly laugher ball-tard spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests simple. You live in a fairy tale. The end. Although we're not ending. Hurricanes. Shout out to Miami. So everyone's seen this before. Either in a documentary or on the Weather Channel. Somewhere you've seen this. In the northern, begging the question hemisphere, you got this action going on. These are actual spins, right? We've all seen that. Got no problem with this. Got a problem with the next statement. So you're saying that hurricanes spin in opposing directions in the northern versus southern hemispheres, begging the question, respectively, caused by the Coriolis effect? Grammatically, it's a train wreck. It's not the Coriolis cause. It's called the Coriolis effect. McFly. I'd sure like some of the angel dust lace shroom these idiot space monkeys are snorting. Number one, like I was saying, effects, consequence, don't fucking cause their antecedents. Number two, apparent deflections are not fucking spins. Number three, please focus on apparent deflection. That is not real. Whenever we say apparent in this context, apparent means not actually. You're going to feel this context over the next couple minutes. So please focus on apparent deflection, appears, does not actually. You see the connection in the following citations. We already did from Seagard Douglas. Let's do it again. The Coriolis effect by Introduction to Ocean Sciences. Second addiction, I did it again. Addiction, critical concept reminders. When set in motion, freely moving objects, including air, that's Atmo, that's gas, and water masses, clouds, water vapor, move in straight paths while the Earth continues to do what? Rotate independently. 2 reference frames, by the way. Just saying. Because freely moving objects are not carried with the Earth as it rotates, they are subject to an apparent deflection called the Coriolis effect. To an observer rotating with the Earth, freely moving objects that travel in a straight line appear to travel in a curved path on the Earth. See? So apparent deflection. Yeah. University of Oregon, sorry. It's going to be the same definition as the University of Florida. One parroted the other. The effect of the Coriolis force is an apparent deflection of the path of an object that moves within a rotating coordinate system. The object does not actually. You see the connection with apparent deflection and does not actually? You see the connection? This object does not actually deviate from its path, but it appears to do so. Appears to do so because of the motion of the coordinate system. Utah State University. The Coriolis force is an imaginary force. Oh, boy. The Coriolis force is an imaginary force because objects affected by it are really following what? A straight path. It is an apparent deflection we see from the vantage point where? Frame of reference of where? Of the rotating Earth. That means you're on the rotating Earth. in their fairy tale paradigm. You get it? I think everyone's got it now. California State, the Coriolis effect describes apparent deflection, that is, curving of an object traveling in a straight line. This one just puts the damn sword right through the gullet. From encyclopedia.com, within its rotating coordinate system, the object acted on by the Coriolis effect appears to deflect off its path of motion. This deflection is not real. Right? It's imaginary. Like the other citation said. This deflection is not real. It only appears. Not actually, right? Because it's not real. Get it? Get the connection? It only appears to happen because the coordinate system that establishes a frame of reference for the observer is also rotating with that numpty standing on it. You see them? Yeah. Here comes the punchline. What does an actual spin have to do with the Coriolis effect, which is an apparent deflection, not real, appears, does not actually. This deflection is not real. Por favor. What's the connection? Answer key. Absolutely nothing. In other words, how can clouds be apparently deflecting spinning actually? Baltards. That's the question. Violation of the law of non-contradiction on nuclear steroids. P.S. I know it's coming. Not P.S. yet. This is tantamount to giving a presentation on quantum numbers with excruciating details on SPD and F orbitals, which are not orbitals, by the way, but I digress, then concluding that they are responsible for the creation of facultative anaerobe woodpeckers. That's the level that we're at here. Alice in Wonderland is more tenable than the Baltard spinning space monkey religion. The prosecution rests, again. Simple, you live in a fairy tale. The end. P.S. Told you it was coming. Foucault pendulum. Boy, I know many people have heard of this. Let's see what the hell it is. Instead of just somebody saying, Bagak! Foucault pendulum. Well, what's the evidence? Foucault pendulum. Can you explain? Foucault pendulum. Yeah. What is it? From plusmass.org, once you set one in motion, its direction of swing will rotate at a rate of about 0.2 degrees every minute. But in fact, it isn't really the pendulum that's rotating or doing figure eights. The pendulum is swinging back and forth in exactly the same direction. It's the Earth which is rotating underneath the pendulum, which makes it appear that the pendulum is in fact changing direction. Appear, not actually. It's not doing it. Why? What does this sound like? Huh? Something we just went over? If that's true, then why couldn't we just hover in a helicopter in North Carolina for 3 hours and catch a Dodger game? Logically follows. If the Foucault pendulum is legit, which denotes two separate reference frames, by the way, then a flight, here we go again, from Charlotte, North Carolina to Los Angeles nonstop, traveling at 500 miles an hour airspeed, with both locations roughly to 35th degree north latitude, both allegedly spinning at 860 miles an hour, should be 1.5 hours. But it's 4.5 hours. Charlotte to LA flight, airspeed 500 miles an hour, ground speed 500 miles an hour, plus 860 miles an hour, alleged rotation speed in your face at 1360 total, 1360 miles an hour. Distance between Charlotte, North Carolina and Los Angeles, 2,115 miles. Flight time must be 1.5 hours. Actual flight time, 4.5 hours. Does this 1.5 hour flight happen? No. Then say bye-bye now to the belly laugher, Baltard spinning space monkey religion. I like that. Does that do it for you? Now shout out to Adam. This is one of the emphasis points. Conservation of angular momentum in one reference frame. Because you'll hear this from incoherent Baltards. Once they get put up against the wall, you will inevitably and invariably hear this statement. Conservation of angular momentum. Oh, yeah? How can something leave the surface of the non-inertial reference frame, right here, the rotating non-inertial reference frame, how can something leave that and need to conserve angular momentum when the object hasn't entered another reference frame? According to your dumbasses, there's only one. How can this be? Ladies and gentlemen, from Phys Libre text, the law of conservation of angular momentum. When no external torques act on a rotating object, its angular momentum is conserved. The law of conservation of angular momentum would never, ever need to be described without an inertial frame of reference, because there'd never be a case where external torques even exist. Hello, McFly! The concept of momentum conservation comes from and is a direct consequence of Newton's third law. Ladies and gentlemen, from Boston University Physics Department, listen carefully and closely. A good question to ask is, do Newton's laws apply all the time? In most cases, they do. But if we're trying to analyze motion in an accelerated reference frame, while we're spinning around would be a good example, then Newton's laws are not valid. Let me say that again. If you're spinning around, then Newton's laws are not valid. A reference frame in which Newton's laws are valid is known as an inertial reference frame. Uh-oh.
No. Say it again. Say it again.
All right. So the concept of momentum conservation, they can't even get that right. Most of them don't know what conserving momentum is. They screw it up with linear momentum. They have no idea, right? Linear, angular, circular, up and down. They have no idea what these phrases mean. But pay attention to this, folks. The concept of momentum conservation comes from and is a direct consequence of Newton's third law. They're inertial laws. From Boston University Physics Department, a good question to ask is, do Newton's laws apply all the time? In most cases, they do. But if we're trying to analyze motion in an accelerated reference frame while we're spinning around would be a good example, then Newton's laws are not valid. A reference frame in which Newton's laws are valid is known as an inertial reference frame. So, don't stop. No, God.
No questions. Because I've been talking about globiolis, and we had all the fun of trying to figure out all this Newtonian stuff that they used to apply, as Chocolate says, make you realize why you don't experience what they're describing is happening. Yeah, I was spinning. And so we've been through, as you've mentioned there, conservation of angular momentum, conservation of linear momentum. I've only got one question. Are they Newton's laws?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
They're derived from Newton's third law.
Exactly. So I just want to read this. A good question to ask is, do Newton's laws apply all the time? In most cases, they do. But if we're trying to analyze motion in an accelerated reference frame, remember the point of the roundabout at the beginning, i.e. while we're spinning around, and Newton's laws are not valid. I've wasted my time analyzing numbers and mechanics as a apologetics to describe why I don't experience something that's supposedly happening. And all I had to realize was that The excuse we're given is Newton's laws are not valid in this a thing, but that's all we're given as an explanation as to why we do not experience rotation, why the flight times aren't different. The excuses are not valid. I'm done. Thank you.
So that then begs the question, ball-tard bugger eaters, and you've heard this one before from above. How in the flying Fukuyama can you even describe the conservation of angular momentum without an inertial reference frame? That's what we want to know. Let me state that one more time. That then begs the question, ball-tard booger eaters. How in the flying Fukuyama can you even describe the conservation of angular momentum without an inertial reference frame? There's you and your position. You see it? At a fundamental, this is grade school level, you're frauds. Or dumb as fuck. Take your pick. Questions, comments?
Super chat.
Go for it.
Okay, we got two of James Richard. He says, "Globe thinking starts in kindergarten and never changes." He said. Never, with capitals. And the next one he says, "Globetards swap the word apparent with real every time they see the word apparent, regardless of the context."
Yep.
I got something to say. Well freaking done.
Okay,
Thank you.
that wraps it up. See you next year.
See you next year.
Same time, same place.
Hopefully everyone's got this. What you think?
Do you get it, mate?
Second.
I was just asking Neil. Well, do you get it? You don't have to go into any of the maths, as much as I like it. Just got to point out that the maths are not relevant. It can't be relevant, according to Newton, anyway. And leave it that with them. It's beautiful. You've got the first part, where they've got the law of non-contradiction, which they violate constantly. Even if they try to blindside you with the maths, yeah? It's not relevant. Newton says so. So why are they doing it?
Because they're dumb.
Or deceivers. We're not sure.
Well, why aren't there audience members calling them out for this?
They might start now if they grab onto this and have a listen and not be biased when they're listening. Maybe they will.
Can they be dumber than the people that are presenting to them? Oh, boy.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless you're about to launch into something, then I'll wait.
No, you're fine.
Yeah. The real question is, if we were on a stationary Earth with a rotating sky, what effects would we see that are different?
We'd see the stars turning, but we wouldn't get a quicker flight from LA to New York and vice versa. You know, the flight times wouldn't change.
Yeah, but we don't have that in reality. I'm talking about in reality. In reality, what would we see that's different? Nothing.
Nothing. We just see the stars rotating.
Yeah, we see that anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's what we see.
Yeah, that's the point,
need-
though.
They'd have all the extra stuff. And then this is the switcher, or when I was referring to Sean, because he always notices that, you know, the excuses for why we don't experience. And we would experience all the other things if we were rotating It wasn't the stars that are rotating. But all we've got is maths and excuses for why we don't experience that. And that's what this shows. But fundamentally, what it does shows is that the maths, which is what these guys cling on to, to support their belief, but the maths works. It's not relevant. According to Newton, anyway. Bloke that invented it. So, take your pick, boys.
So I see what you're doing. You're getting them with their own math, or math in general.
I haven't got any math, Neil, or maths.
I know they haven't got it, but QE's using math, right?
He's taking it away. Or
Sorry.
Newton's taking it away.
Sorry, Tony Wickham just came. He said he got here late. He asked me if I could start over. Frames of reference. A non-inertial reference. No, I'm sorry, Tony. You're going to have to go back and check out the beginning.
Too funny. Didn't you have a video that sort of proved the whole, or made it sort of visual?
I had a GIF.
Yeah.
I already played it.
Okay, good. Maybe play it again.
Chocolate like the flying cookie.
You just see that a lot.
I'm eating some pineapple right now.
Oh my goodness! Always eating during the show.
I've got a homemade burger.
Another
fried
one.
onions.
I'm gonna get myself some pastry or something to counteract that whole.
Well, I didn't have to get up, right? It was already here. Yeah, I go by this old
Yeah, but
saying.
you have personnel at home, and I don't.
So I go by this old saying. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance.
Good. Let me have a piss poor performance.
Let me play Nathan. I have 1,000 RAM right now, and it's still overheating. I have 6 fans in this computer, and I still can't include elements.
Ah, so we're having some problems with element, aren't we?
Plus, you just started talking about food. I'll take Nathan's stand and start talking about computers.
You hear that, Betty? Oh, she
No,
left.
not everything. Finally I heard something with element. And
Yep,
thought
there's some problems with element. All right. What did I say a few weeks ago?
Yeah, but what? In what way?
No. I was making that up. Hold on. I was just making it up. I'm using it. He says it's not a problem. The computer should be able to handle anything. I don't know if it's because he added element on. I was just taking liberties.
I've got a much crapper computer, and I had element. It's no problem. It's not that. It just needs more tinkering. We need more tinkering to get to the problem. Then we'll solve
Adam's
it.
a liar.
Adam's a liar.
He's a tinkerer. We know this.
Hey, Betty, Chocolate made an appeal to you out here.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I see my name in there.
One up from your name in there.
Well, QE, I missed the last 7 years. Start over real quick.
Shout out to Chocolate.
Yeah. I hope
And
he's doing okay. Anyway.
say again?
I hope he's doing okay, Chocolate.
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Good.
All right, listen, I do have something else.
Like what?
Because I'm just
Excellent.
I'm just so full of substance. It's unbelievable.
Since when?
Since I was born. Unfortunately, you are not going to be able to see it in Discord because I'll have to switch back and forth between windows, and I don't want to do that. So what I want you to do is just relax. You can always go back to it. You can listen to what I'm saying. I don't know if you're going to even be able to hear this. Let me stop sharing. Stop streaming. You might be able, I'll give you the first one. How about that? Let's see if that works. Hold on a second. Where is it? I think it's that one. So just entertain this in Discord. Just chill out for a couple minutes. What we got here and here is something that happened. I don't know. When are these videos? Who knows? Was this recently? This is by the ass clown Dorkemer about a year ago. You put this presentation out, how we know the Earth rotates. I'm going to show you a typical maneuver that idiot baltards make. Okay? 1 second. So I want you to listen up closely because this is right on topic. Here we go.
If the coordinate system isn't accelerating, we call it an inertial frame of reference.
Okay, look at more you ass clown. He's reading this from a prompter or something. What did he say? If a reference frame is not accelerating, it is an inertial reference frame. The douchebag's correct. Now he's going to give you an example.
Inertial frames are nice because they make physics very simple and straightforward.
No, inertial frames are nice because it's the end of Newton if you don't have any. He's debunked anyway, but in your worldview, you need Newton. That's what you should have said, you dumbass cracker. Listen up, though. Remember, he's going to give you an example of an inertial reference frame, one that's not accelerating.
For example, if an object which is initially at rest starts to move in an inertial frame, I know.
If an object starts moving in an inertial frame, so the object for his poster child example is the space shuttle. So according to him, the space shuttle is moving in an inertial frame. The Atmo. That's his shining example of an inertial frame. Has everyone got that? The Atmo, according to this booger eater, is an inertial frame of reference. 3 minutes later,
we must conclude that if the Earth is rotating, then the atmosphere is rotating with it. Done!
You're done! You see what he did? Now the Atmo is rotating with the Earth, making it a non-inertial reference frame. You're done. You just torpedoed your entire presentation. You see what they did, folks? You see what he did? Not on 3 minutes later, went from the Atmo as an inertial, non-accelerating reference frame to a non-inertial, rotating, accelerating reference frame. That's what you got. Game, set, fucking match. Good night. Questions, comments?
No, just 2 super chats.
Go.
Okay, we got one from Dave Scott, and he says, question. If a law doesn't apply every time, then is it still a law?
No.
Newton laws.
No.
It's not a law anyway. It's a mathematical mechanics law. So it's that's the point of it.
Well, in science,
And it's not that it's not saying it's false because remember Newton says, yeah, it doesn't apply in this situation. If you're on a spinning, rotating, non-inertial reference frame, then this doesn't apply. So the law's not broken. It's not
and
to say
otherwise they change the laws. Because they
no, but it's not to say it's right, Betty, is it? But it's got the precluder, which is important.
Yeah, but everyone knows them as Newton's laws, so I understand what he's saying. To answer his question, if a law doesn't apply every time, then is it still a law? The answer to that question is no. No, it's not.
In natural science, but as I said, this isn't where it sits. It's in mechanics.
Yeah, it's a bigger discussion. Go ahead, Benny.
All right, another super chat, James Mays, and he says, "Great show, guys," and he says, "Hello, Betty." Hello,
Good to
James.
hear from you again, James. Hope you and yours are doing well, sir.
He
Thank
was
you.
in the chat earlier on. And I think he had to leave. Maybe. Yeah. He's still your greatest supporter, isn't he?
Yes, he is. James Mays, yes. There are a few others, but James stands out. He's been with me ever since the beginning. Hasn't wavered. He's like a friggin' rock.
Maybe you should shout out your
Yeah,
well,
yeah, we'll do it next week.
Yeah, do that because I think it's needed.
Yeah, I do too.
Please thank all the people that support this channel, and if people are still not subscribed to this channel, please do and give it a like. Maybe more people will find this channel then.
Important chat text comment you've missed, Betty.
Did I?
Eric.
Super chat?
Upholding, yeah. Adam is correct. I like that. No, no, there was one before. There was one before that I like as well. Newton's laws apply in an inertial frame. Well, what's a spinning, rotating Earth?
I have a question after this.
Answer the question.
Who has to answer the question?
Anyone. Now,
Oh.
please.
Please. What was the question again? Because
What is the Earth?
It's a non-inertial. It's non-inertial. A rotating Earth is non-inertial, as in it's not stationary. It has more than zero velocity.
Where does Newton's laws apply?
Inertial
In
reference
a
frame.
stationary inertial reference frame with zero velocity.
And whether we know them to hold true or not, they're roughly correct for an inertial reference frame.
Yeah, because he created them based around reality.
So
that's
right.
Sorry.
That's my question. That's why I'm a little confused. Because
Neil,
I was going
Earth?
through Georgia. Hold on. I was going through Georgia, so I was going in and out. But I got maybe 60% of it. But I thought we always said the laws of motion of Newton are not right.
That's correct.
So, like, why are we using them? Did I miss something?
Well, I'm in their paradigm. I have to jump in their paradigm, and I'll give them Newton's laws, even though we know they're already debunked, Neil. Even with their debunked laws, even if they're not bunked, they're still, the Baltards are still debunked. Follow?
Okay, yeah.
It's a double whammy.
Neil, I'm going to ask Brian 2 questions, yeah? Based on it, this will get... Eric says, Newton's laws apply in inertial reference frame. Do you agree with that, Brian?
That's where they are defined as applying to. They're defined as only applying to an inertial reference frame.
In the heliocentric spinning space ball, is the Earth described as an inertial reference frame or a non-inertial reference frame?
The Earth is described as a non-inertial rotating reference frame.
So would Newton's laws be applicable then to a rotating Earth?
No, they're not. They're not applicable to the globe Earth.
You get it, Neil?
Yes, I do. But you know what's going to happen. They're going to come in and say, well, first QE says they're not right, and I was using them. So, but I missed like a lot.
Let me clear it up a little bit. Just give me a second now. Adam and QE can correct me on this. Does that I'm saying a bit incorrect? But a law would be something that happens all the time. Now, right? And QE agreed only a while ago that would be if something doesn't happen all the time in all circumstances, then it can't be called a law. It's the whole point of it. Let's just say, right? Like hot always goes to cold. It never doesn't go to cold. That's why that is a natural law, right? Now, when it came to quantum mechanics, they found that Newton's laws didn't apply all the time. That's why Newton's laws. That's why Richard Feynman stated that the laws of Newton were not correct or were not right, because they don't apply all the time in all circumstances. But in general, everyday 3D, bigger world stuff, they may apply for us. But at the smaller levels, supposedly they don't. That's the differential. QE, you can
Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, they do. Newton's laws are debunked. Period. All physics, all of it's quantum mechanical laws, all of it. No matter no matter the size, size doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, but that was my point. Is that they can't be called a law if they're not applicable in all situations.
That's correct.
So when I said that they were found to not be applicable on the small scale, then that debunks them being a law, yes?
This is the differential. We're not talking about whether or not the laws are specifically laws of physics. Okay, I would dispute they are, and that's demonstrated that they're not. For in terms of mechanical laws, yeah. So for just basic math and way of describing stuff for mathematical mechanics, it comes with the disclaimer. And it's this disclaimer that Newton makes of where it is applicable. Yeah? He realizes if you're trying to do all this stuff whilst on a roundabout, it's not applicable. Yeah? In real world, it is. Because we're not on a spinning non-inertial reference frame. Yeah? All this stuff applies to reality, the inertial reference frame, the flat plane, stationary as it is, that we dwell atop.
Let's just go with there's two paradigms. 1 second. There's two paradigms here. First, I need to step into the ballers paradigm, and they think Newton is way up there, you know, but even regardless of the universal law of gravitation, you know, everyone's heard Newton's laws, right? You're talking about the laws of motion. Now, I have to step into the paradigm. I'm giving them that. I'll give them that. But we know on the outside of that, in our paradigm, I mean, in the common sense paradigm, scientifically adept paradigm, that they're all debunked. So so I'm going to say this again. They're debunked initially, but I have to step inside their paradigm, and I go ahead and debunk them with Newton's debunked laws.
Oh, okay, I got it.
You got it?
I understand now. Yes.
Betty.
Yeah.
We have a super chat.
Yeah. I was waiting for one.
I know you were.
All right. I got one from Tony Whitcomb, and he says, "See the rocket going sideways in the inertial reference frame." Me neither.
Tony's. Yeah. And another one.
Another one? Did I make another one?
Yep.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. Retro Bill, he says, "Kablooey! Thanks to putting these two quotes side by side, all ballers make that same blunder, and it would be nice to have a compilation of them."
Is he talking about Dorkemer, the ass clown?
You have to ask him.
I think that's who he's talking about when he examples an inertial reference frame as the Atmo, and then he says that the Atmo is a non-inertial rotating reference frame. Yes, I think that's what he's talking about.
He wants to make. He wants another compilation of all these blunders of these numpty wonders.
That sounds like a job for Adam, or maybe not Adam.
You already had the top 10 of some numpty expressions or beliefs.
They want to hear that again.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
Huh.
Am I still
Brandeis, for example?
Am I still sharing? Yeah. Am I still sharing in Discord?
No. Well, you're up, but there's nothing. Just
okay.
Dancing blue dots.
1 second. We're gonna do it again.
Yep.
Where'd it go?
Where what go?
1 second. Let me pull that up. 1 second, guys. Let me do some admin. Oh,
Angel
God.
Soft toilet paper.
Okay.
You're doing that. Just come back to Brian if he's there. Do you get the distinction, Brian, in terms of what we don't need to prove the laws of Newton were not correct for physics, yeah, we're demonstrating that they're not applicable, according to Newton, to a rotating non-inertial reference frame. That's his disclaimer, which is why his law still stands true, because he makes that disclaimer. Won't put this on a roundabout and expect the same to happen. Don't be stupid. Yeah, that's what he's saying. But this is what the ballers are saying. Well, we've put it on a roundabout, and the reason it doesn't happen and why the laws still hold true is because of conservation of momentum, conservation of angular retention. Yeah, oh, that doesn't work either, does it? Because what are the requirements for that? Yeah, this is the unpicking of their bullshit, this last bit. But the important bit is that they're contradicting Newton to try and apply the math. And he says, don't be stupid. I'm forced to do it. Go and do this on a roundabout. Will it work? No. That's what they've done.
You sound like
I get all that. I understood. Sorry, QB.
He sounds like he's doing a Nathan impression.
I'm reiterating for the audience, Brian, not you, mate. I'm sorry.
No, I just had to give you a reply anyway. Yeah, I get all that. I totally understand all that. What I was trying to explain to Neil in the best way I could as to why someone like Richard Feynman would have said that the laws of Newton were not right. Just as a question, at the small scale, isn't everything described as at least vibrating, which wouldn't be inertial, yeah?
No, you're going
Not
off the
moving.
deep. No, you're going off the deep end. I don't want to go down there.
But isn't it time for the deep end?
No.
On this bit, don't understand where Newton got his stuff from. He got it from dropping stuff, right? And they're laws of mechanics, yeah? And this is the differential, the mechanical laws based on practical experiment, yeah? Not scientific experiment, yeah? And they're derived from that. Yeah, and he tries to then people then build on that, but he doesn't make a claim of physics. He expunges himself of any cause or anything. They're derived from that for me. I don't critique Newton bullshittery. He's quite honest in everything he says and the disclaimers he makes along the lines as we see. Yeah? Don't see Newton being wrong. Don't think he's wrong. Laws of Newton, he didn't say this is how it works. These were mechanical laws as far as I can see, mathematical. He knew what maths was. It wasn't an explanation, it's a description. He invented calculus, he knows what maths is. Don't put that on him. Other people put that shit on him. He knows what he was doing. He was describing stuff with maths. It drops like this. This is how it does it in maths. Yeah? So, like I say, shit spot on him, but fundamentally, right, wrong, whatever, they're using him. In using him, they're ignoring his clear disclaimer that you can't use this on a rotating non-inertial reference frame. You can't do this on a roundabout.
That sounds like Nathan. All right, let's go to Dorkamer again. Dorkamer the ass clown. What they were talking about, they wanted me to play those two again. Here we go.
If the coordinate system isn't accelerating, we call it an inertial frame of
So, an inertial frame of reference, one that's not accelerating.
reference. Inertial frames are nice because they make physics very simple and
No, that's why you can get Newton in here.
straightforward. For example, if an object which is initially at rest starts to move in an inertial frame,
There you go. If an object starts to move in an inertial frame. Okay, the object is a space shuttle. What's it moving in? An inertial frame, the Atmo. So according to the Crayon Crunch and Numpty here, the Atmo is the inertial reference frame. 3 minutes later.
wins, we must conclude that if the Earth is rotating, then the atmosphere is rotating with it. Done!
Yep, you're done. So he just switched it. Now the Atmo is rotating non-inertial reference frame. Yep, they all do it. He's finished.
I found it... Sorry for putting line on you. I found it interesting the way you said that. We must conclude that if the Earth is rotating, then the atmosphere, as he called it, because he's begging the question, is also rotating with it. kind of that's the end of that. It's like, how did you conclude any of this? You looked at the sky, saw the sky moved, and you just reversed all that into something that's completely unrealistic.
Within the contradiction.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over with the contradiction. We switched it up. Just the old switcheroo. That's what the people in chat were chiming in with. So in other words, he did the old switcheroo. You can't describe the Atmo as an inertial reference frame, then 3 minutes later claim that it is a non-inertial rotating reference frame. It's bunk. He torpedoed his entire argument. He probably doesn't even realize it.
Well, even if he does, he didn't realize that he was destroying it in the end, because everything he said prior to that is now thrown out the window, because he just changed the reference frame from stationary to moving.
Yep. That's how it goes, folks. We're in Shangri-La of numpty pretender clown dipshits. Posturing themselves as intellectuals and prostituting themselves. That's what we got. Go ahead, Betty. I didn't hear you.
People like to be in Shangri-La.
I guess so.
People don't want to wake up. They want to live their lives and be stupid, because ignorance is bliss.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, I wonder, you had some guy, I think it was Danny T, sort of admit that planes are flying backwards. How did you get him to do that?
Yeah. Not a lot. Not many people appreciate that. Brian's not a big fan of that.
Really?
I won't say I'm not a big fan of it. It's just that I take a different route. That's all. But I'm still a big fan of that.
I'm just messing with you, Brian. That was a conversation that came up earlier today, ironically, Betty.
Yeah. I like Danny T. He was not a bad guy. But some people just sometimes people have invested in their fantasy so much so that they can't get out of it, because if they do, they lose, well, everything basically. They lose their identity, or they lose their reputation, many other things.
Can't have that.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are sort of wanting to just admit that you're wrong, you know? I was in a conversation with a family member recently, and we were talking about language and about using certain words. And I would use certain words at my office, for example, and people would say, yeah, Betty, you use regular Dutch words. And I'm saying, well, I'm using Dutch words that are in the dictionary. And if you don't understand them, just ask. Right? Don't tell me that I need to talk plain Dutch or sort of downplay my words. Just try to keep up with the language, right? And if you don't know it, just ask. And then my family member said, I will never ask anybody about words that I don't understand. I will Google them, but I won't ask them straight on. I said, why not?
Wow.
Why not? He said, "We'll never do that because it makes me look foolish." He didn't say it in exact those words, but it sort of came to that sort of idea. And I'm thinking, how many people don't have that same thing? You know, how many people are not willing to just go back to basics and see what do I really know, and which words do we really use for something, like the whole horizontal level curve thing and stuff. I mean, we all know that horizontal meant really horizontal in the sense of flat as can be. and now they have to basically change words to get that concept in their heads right. And they don't want to just concede that it's not that. And I'm thinking that's a big problem. People don't want to concede. They are stuck up basically and in their foolishness. They think that you're arrogant for telling them the truth. So telling the truth is now arrogancy.
Huh. That's a very interesting take on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and so we got into a sort of a discussion about that I was arrogant to say to them that they could ask me for that word and that I would sort of teach them. These people, or most people, are not teachable because they don't want to. They know it all. And they call us arrogant. Yeah.
I
mean,
think,
if I
Betty, the
don't know a
reason.
word,
Sorry.
if I don't, oh, sorry, just another add-on. If I don't know a word, I will ask people. I will say, okay, I don't know this, so can you explain it to me or say it in simple terms? And then later on, I try to get that word into my vocabulary because I like to learn more of the language, but most people don't. Sorry, Brian.
I was just saying that I think that the reason a lot of people are like your relative, where they are unwilling to ask someone if they don't understand something, whether it be just a word or whatever, is because they don't, and they feel they don't want to look foolish. It's because that person knows that if the same situation arose, that it's likely that they would feel that someone is foolish, or they would look down their nose at someone when they don't understand something. And that's the problem. The world jumps on people when they don't understand something. We know all about that 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, with our experience coming into this arena. You know, the abuse you got because you were trying to find out something, ask some questions, right? So people are afraid to admit they don't know something or don't understand something because they're afraid that others will do to them what they're willing to do to others. And that's the problem. Right? That's my opinion.
It's projection then, huh?
So then what about my sister-in-law
Yeah.
then? When I was told, when just speaking about certain things, that myself and the people that I'm on Discord and the internet with are unintelligent. And they refuse to talk about it any further. Refuse to discuss that the scientific method, she called it an outline, and then it goes on further from there. I just think it's a heavy indoctrination, and then every day they're taking it in. So it's hard for people to come out of that.
Well, stop them right at the flailing, generalized, baseless assertion, the sweeping one that said the people that you're talking to on the internet, which they don't know of, are unintelligent. Can you give an example?
They can't.
I did, but then she turned around and said, "I don't want to talk about it."
Well, there
That's
you
it.
go. Well, then.
Yeah, so then I left it alone.
Yep.
Yeah. They stop the conversation because they've been taught that, you know. The television tells them how to deal with conspiracy theorists and other people that have the flat earth opinions, because they say that plainly.
Conspiracy theorists. Well, yeah, we do. We are the conspiracy, heliocentric conspiracy debunkers. See, that's the conspiracy theory, Betty.
Yeah, well, they say it's just a meme, right? And they learn that they have to go along with you a little bit, and then they have to say, okay, but you're just watching videos on the internet. That doesn't mean anything, and then they shut you down. Oh, well, opinions vary, right? That's it. And then there you go. That's it. Done.
Well, they decide. Well, the television tells them, and social media, mainstream media, let's say, whether it's on TV or on the internet, it tells them that we're a conspiracy theory, that we are a part of a conspiracy theory, that we are conspiracy theorists. When you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist in any way, shape, or form to be asking the questions that we ask. It has nothing to do with conspiracy. It's got to do with physics and geometry and the nature of our world. That's not conspiracy. So when Neil's sister-in-law says what she says, she has to say that because it's either say that or ask, maybe they have a point. So they have to say, we don't know what we're talking about, we're stupid, we're unintelligent. Because if they don't say that, then they must actually address us. So it's easier to say we're unintelligent conspiracy theorists than actually admit that, hang on, these people actually have a point. Because it's kind of, there's only two options. Go on, Adam.
So, Brian,
Not
I asked her.
suggesting why people do this. Okay, as in they're proposing a ball for this. I mean, force me to it. I'll give you an answer. But what we've done tonight is no theory behind this. We've shown the contradiction. Yeah, we've just held a mirror up to what they're presenting and showing the contradiction. There's no conspiracy theory behind it. We're not trying to say we've done this for a particular reason. We're just showing you, look, this is what they're claiming, and this is how it contradicts themselves within the model. We've shown the law of contradictions to the point where we've shown that Newton would not claim this. In fact, he would say, my laws do not apply here. There's no conspiracy there. Citation.
I don't even
Yeah,
know
Adam, I even asked her.
to Newton, for example, in my family. I mean, they don't even know the concept of Newton. So.
You see, my sister-in-law does. She went through schooling. She's very smart according to, schooling. But I asked, I said, let me at least explain gas pressure without containment. Didn't want to hear it. I said, Nicole, let me ask you a question. Do you think that men walked on the moon? She laughed and said, you see right there, that shows me how unintelligent you are. So from that point on, I have no more discussion. I can't. It's just I push it to the side. She's been brainwashed. And I guess when the whole paradigm does shift and it hits critical mass, then they'll realize. But as far as now, I will not speak to her ever about it again.
Because she's not got ears, mate, right? Like you said earlier, you can't teach some people. You can't. If they've not got ears, there's no point, casting your pearls, is the lad,
Exactly. Don't throw your pearls before swine. Not that your sister's a swine, by the way.
No, it's not an insult to the person, is it? It's about how you treat the information.
Yep.
Yeah. Like a pig would a filet mignon.
That was pretty good impersonation, Adam.
Yeah.
Of your sister or a pig?
Too funny. I got two super chats, by the way. Let me get them. Unitex Famous says, because level is flat, that's rude and arrogant. And another one, he says, for word example, we need dictionary.
Just to come back to Neil. When we've got this knowledge, the people we want to share it with is the people we love most first. And if I was to use scripture, what is it? A prophet is never welcome in his own town. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
plenty of people to listen. And if you look to scripture again, the Christian woman whose wife is not, she's told to just demonstrate her behaviour. No point preaching to those that you love and a family. Let your example lead, and that's what will turn your family, not telling them they're wrong.
Now, mind you, I didn't bring it up. We come from the Museum of Natural History, and she kind of brought it up. She does sort of like my son does, but she throws little shots. So I just really basically asked her a question. And I tell you the truth, it freaking bothered me when she said that. Because not the fact that she said you were unintelligent and everybody around you is unintelligent. That didn't bother me because I know that's just not true. The fact that she shut it down, like she was allowed to say what she said, and that's it. I don't want to hear nothing else, and just shut it down like that. That shit freaking bothered me. I was in the backseat fuming.
Well, Neil, if we look at without just very quickly, Adam, sorry. If we look at without mentioning much, the past couple of years, if you went back 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, and said to people, the outcome of this situation is going to be what we see now in 2023, they would have told you, which they did, tell people, back in 2019, 4 years ago, they would have told people, which they did, you don't know what you're talking about, you're an idiot, right? Now, I'm not saying everyone wasn't an idiot, but most people, anyone who was saying this is wrong, weren't stupid to say it. Now, the problem is this, I saw a very good meme put up by a conspiracy music guru. He's an English lad who makes country music with flat earth country music, right? And he does a good job. He puts up some great memes. And one of the memes was, you were able to ask me, it was okay to ring me and ask me, have I been inoculated before I come to dinner at your house? But it's not okay for me to ask you if you had been inoculated after you've had a heart attack. So the problem is, I don't want to go into that subject too much. The point I'm making is, when the time comes, your sister won't be able to look you in the eye and she won't be able to address the situation. Your sister-in-law, I should say. She won't be addressing the situation. She'll be doing her best not to address the situation. You'll be just Neil, her brother-in-law, and she'll view you differently, but she'll be too embarrassed to address it. And the proof of that is what we've seen in the past few years. Go on, Adam, sorry.
That's brilliant analogy. Yeah, that's real life. I love it. Yeah. Spot on, break. Don't want to repeat it, but it's too good. But exactly, yeah. We don't, and that's the point. Think about us, Nonny Knox. Yeah, yeah. We didn't run around. We're not. Yeah. Think about how we behave with regards to that, and think about how we're behaving now. Yeah. All we can do is let our behaviour lead a light in a way. Yeah. What you can't do is go evangelize to these people because it's a waste of your time and energy. Yeah. Time will tow. And more fundamentally, look, it's just like somebody saying, do you think this jibby jabby safe? Do you think this jibby jabby safe? So what's happening to you now, Neil? When she comes up with, I'm probably sat there at night thinking, I'm going to say this to me, bro. Yeah. And I'm going to put him right. But she has to get that out. What you say is kind of irrelevant. Just be there in love for her. And she's coming to you, isn't she? She's poking the bear for a reason. Is all these thoughts that she's having by disproving you going to make them go away? No, they're going to keep there. You just got to be as loving as you can and just support her when you can and never be argumental with them. Because the hardest people to convert are family, mate. I've learnt the hard way.
No, this may be Adam. I left a small detail out. Her husband is my brother, who's the one who told me about Flat Earth in 2015. So she might be getting it from him. You understand what I'm saying? And I got the brunt of it, because I'm not there. I don't know what he says, but I kind of know because he's gone back to the law and keeping of the Sabbath and all of that. So I'm trying to think in my mind, is he bombarding her, like a double whammy with this because we're Christian, and then on top of it, Flat Earth, and I caught the brunt of it? You understand what I'm saying?
Hey, Neil. First, I want to say, what's up, everybody? I've been in the background listening because I'm taking my brother to the abstract, right? Hey, he heard the whole show, and I'm kind of like commentating while y'all are giving these big words, breaking it down to him in the most simplistic manner. He's shaking his head, and at the end of the conversation, he says, "Exactly, the Earth and the atmosphere is moving." He said, "That's just my opinion." He said, I'm not an expert at it. I'm not going to argue with you, but that's what I see. So, down. Even after me breaking it down in the most simplistic, elementary interpretation, he's still stuck on his belief that the Earth is moving.
Yeah.
That's how deep it is. You see how we have to resolve it, D-Rose? Yeah? It's like, Neil, this is pain you're hearing. I'm not being disparaging to the guy. This is cognitive pain. See how he's resolved it. Oh, I've got one reference frame. Can't go to one reference frame means no Coriolis. The only way to settle it is to say to his brother, it means they're moving in lockstep. And I can deal with that because I'm still on a spinning ball. I don't comprehend it. He's got to digest this. You just got to be there for him.
Betty, super chat before. Hold on, Adam. Hold on a second. Betty, get that super chat before we lose it.
Yeah, okay. It's from Retro Bill. He says, but But NOAA claims Earth rotates on an axis. Thus, circulating air deflects to the right in the northern hemisphere and to the left in the south.
Yes, they surely do. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, atmospheric being a paradox, so they're within a paradox already. Thanks. Thanks for the super chat.
But and hi Betty.
I'd like to point
Last
out
time I
that
was
Noah also claims that Santa crosses the Earth every Christmas Eve and provides.
Stop mumbling, Adam.
I'd just like to point out Noah tracks Santa via satellite every Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Go ahead, Original D-Rose.
Hey, I was gonna say hi Betty. Last time I was on listening, you were missing in action.
Missing in action.
But hey, you know, Adam, I'm not there for these adults anymore. This is a 30-something-year-old man. I'm here for the youngsters, the children who have not been so indoctrinated and programmed yet, who are more absorbable, as they say children are, like sponges, who will take in things and decipher better than adults will, I guess because they haven't been so programmed and indoctrinated. But these adults, I let them know one time, there are snakes ahead. If you go there, your ass is getting bit. They get bit. I'm not sucking the fucking venom out your ass. You're done. I don't care. I'm done. That's my attitude with adults. Family, friends, I don't care what it is. Keep spinning in your head.
And D-Rose.
Well, what's probably going to happen is you'll tell some kid, hey, do you know the Earth is flat and stationary? And the kid will go, yeah, buddy. I mean, everyone knows that. And look at you like you're an idiot. Because all the kids, they're all flat earthers, majority of them these days.
Yep.
Yeah.
I that's probably D-Rose. The point I'm making is, I say your brother will come back to you. You've slapped him around with a big wet fish around the head tonight, right? There's no sense coming out of him. All you've heard is how he has to fight it and deal with it. He's got to cognise this the next time you meet him, and he'll have a question, just like Neil's sister-in-law. Yeah, I agree with you, and I don't know if you were quoting George Benson, but
yeah,
children are the future.
And get this, he agrees and is aware of the first and second laws of thermodynamics. He knows what entropy is. That aspect, he knows they didn't go to the moon. You get what I'm saying? This is why I was telling Righteous one time and some other people that there are actually people that don't believe in the lunar landing, do believe in the firmament, etc., do believe that entropy and the laws of thermodynamics, that gas requires pressure in a container, yada, 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 but they still think we're moving. And they also think that it's round with a solid firmament, like a glass, I don't know, crystal ball glass around the sphere.
Right.
Could be.
If you address that, Cac, right, you're losing, aren't you? All I would say, Neil, Dira, the questions you ask your family, if you're going to ask them anything, is what's gas behaviour? What's Brownian motion? Yeah? What's Gay-Lussac's law? Ask them to if this guy understands entropy, ask him questions about entropy. Yeah? Let his own. That's what hit me. I figured it out on my own. Yeah, I proved it to myself on my own with my knowledge. So did QE. Hit him like a ton of bricks on your own, and that's the point where you realise it's not when your brother-in-law or your brother says to you, "Oi, dickhead, it's wrong." That might be the point you investigate. Yeah, the point of realisation you have to come to on your own, and preaching, especially with family, never works. Asking them to go and state physics, I think, is quite useful. Don't make a claim with it. Doesn't need a claim. It's for them to figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Basically plant seeds and not let the plant grow. People, if people want to know, they will sort of go investigate for themselves, and if they don't want to know, they will never investigate. They will say, "Okay, you're crazy," and they will just go about their lives. And to be honest, I mean, life doesn't really, in many respects, have to change when you're a flat earther, but they don't know that, right? They are just going about their business, although they would know a secret, right? Something that has been long being sort of, yeah, how do you say? They kept the shape of the Earth a secret, or they tried to.
Well,
And
that becomes a conspiracy then, doesn't it? Hey?
well,
That's what I'm.
there is really a movement or a fundamental like push to immediately when the kids are like in class to push that ball on them, right? I mean, they take them also when they're young, right? They indoctrinate them when they're young because they know that if they do it there, people will most likely never change.
Well,
That's where
probably. Sorry, Adam, go on.
just to address that, right? That's where we can lose people. We try to show them that there's a bigger plan that we can't describe, even though we know in our hearts what's going off. That's where we lose people. That's where it gives them an out. Oh, you conspiracy theorists! Because suddenly now this is the work of the devil, programmed into children at an early age. Newbie to that statement is very defensive, yeah. And you give them lots of ammunition to defend a cognitive dissonance. If you give them physics, you know, it's not contentious. It's for them to work out, and it's not to say I disagree with you, Beck, because we know this. But you've kind of got to get to the realization that you've been lied to first before you try to understand the lie, if that makes sense.
No, but that's a realization that hits you, right? And sometimes in your subconscious, it's already there, right? People fight it from the subconscious level already. But people that are open and just open to the ideas to just investigate first and then say, okay, this. I mean, we all sort of, when we first saw the first Flat Earth videos, like, I clicked them away a couple of times. And like, bruh, right? I'm not looking into this. But then curiosity sort of ruled, and I had to go over there and see what it's all about. And then when I saw, because there was very visionary sort of things that they put on the videos, and I thought, okay, it could work that way. And it's not that they convinced me, but my own mind convinced me that it was a flat Earth because it added up, right? I already, some things were off with the moon landings. For me, it was for the moon landings, and like little puzzle pieces falling into place. And the missing ones I was still looking for, and I found a community that was just starting with the whole flat Earth. Then I learned about all those laws and things, and most of all the things I learned from QE and his proofs and stuff. And when you're really interested, you follow certain people and you'll see what they're all about. And if you're stuck and with clicking those videos away, you will never go anywhere. So sometimes I click on things that I think, okay, that's totally contrary to what my ideas are, and I still click on them to just to see. I mean, if you're not curious anymore, then you're done. You're basically dead meat.
Dead meat.
Yeah, you're dead meat.
That's the point, Betty, isn't it? All of what you're describing is you searching for the truth, for you to realize the
It's a
truth.
personal thing. Yeah, I agree with you, Adam. It's a personal thing.
All I'd say, that's different, isn't it, to the responses from Neil's sister-in-law and D. Rose's brother. Yeah, what they're after is to be able to prove the relative people wrong. Yeah, so they can stay in the same paradigm. They don't want to come out of there yet. They know something's wrong. It's like you. Should I search for it? I bet you didn't search the first night. You might have searched the second night. Should I search for it? And that's where they're at. You just got to recognize that and don't think that you're a preacher in this point. You're just a teacher of facts. And then they've got to come to their own conclusion. Because when you're dealing like that, see, there's a difference. I'll go on the streets. When you've seen me on, on the tours and that. And that's when you can evangelize, preach, whatever, you know what I mean? But expound something. One-on-one, and like I said, particularly with family, come to you for a reason, I think. And you just got to really guide them then. I've got my brother-in-law on board. I never thought I would. You know? And my other brother-in-law, he's a Scouser. It's not his fault. He's still skeptical, still likes a bit of moon stuff, but he'll ask the odd probing question now and again. And I hold back now. I just rebut it and let him muse on it, you know?
Speaking...
Well, in my...
The only...
I'm sorry.
Go on.
I'm sorry. Hold on, real quick. Well, I don't know Neil's situation because I didn't really hear all of it, but in my situation, it wasn't a question. It was just basically, I'm riding him to the train station, so I'm going to listen to the show regardless. I don't care who it is. If you don't like what I'm listening to, then put your earpods or whatever on. So, he was like, shaking his head like, okay, yeah. So he didn't understand everything. So I broke it down to him in bits and pieces, and he understood it. But after all of that, he still thought what he thought, and that was his opinion. And the only way he would do the research is not out of curiosity in order to find the truth. If anything, this thing went in one ear out the other, because that's how hard the cognitive dissonance is. There's no desire to refute his own opinion and belief. The only thing he would do in order to, if he did make the effort, and I'm talking about by his personality and temperament, and a lot of people like this, is to try to refute me, either either live right then and there as I'm telling them what's going on, or later on after they've done some research. And hopefully while they're doing that. But see, my brother wouldn't do that, because it's neither here or there, and it would be nothing else but what he believes, and that's it. And there's a lot of people like that. And those are the people I say, fine, I don't care no more. I've told you, you've gotten the word, understand, now you just take it from there. And, maybe to your grave, you still believe the same thing. I don't know.
Speaking of the moon,
what you did to him.
Hold on a second. Speaking of the moon, Adam, we'll get back to you in a second. I want to bring in this exhibit for evidence, Your Honor. Shout out to Lunatic from 24/7. Back in the day, I requested he do this, and he did it. So this is a drone, hovering drone. In 15 seconds, it's going to destroy the entire heliocentric spinning ball-tied religion. Are you guys seeing this in Discord, by the way?
No.
Why the hell not?
I'm seeing something is live. I'm seeing numbers down to the end. I'm not seeing that. I just seen a black screen though.
Me too. I'm seeing nothing. It's a black screen with a red background and white letters that says live.
Hold on one second, folks.
This is Chocolate Sayings proof, isn't it?
No.
It is. Send a drone up. What are the options that could happen?
How about now?
Just before you do it.
Let's see it now.
Yeah, we've got it.
All right. Again, this is a stationary hovering. Look up the definition of hovering. This is a hovering drone. What we got is the moon. We got some stars out here. Now, I don't know how good this is coming through to you, but I got a star here, star there, star here, over here, right there, up here, couple up here.
Count all stars? Then you will
Yeah, I'm counting them out stars. Yeah. So we got the moon and stars. Moon and stars, hovering drone, 15 seconds. Good night, Irene. Here we go. What have we got happening here?
The moon moving.
It was that green spaceship that was freaking me out below the moon.
Yeah, the moon is moving.
So are all the stars.
Yeah, everything up above is moving.
Yeah.
So guess what?
No, wait there.
There's only one.
Wait there, and don't say anything. Wait there.
There's only one inertial reference point.
Yeah, the drone is in the inertial reference frame.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be. All right. What am I now as a baller? I'm on a spinning non-inertial reference frame in the air, in the inertial bit that's now non-inertial.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That's not my claim. Don't have a go at me. I didn't make this nonsense up, did I? I am now on a non-inertial spinning reference frame in the inertial reference frame that stopped
That doesn't make any
being
sense.
inertial and is now non-inertial because the velcroicity, that's a real word, look it up, of gas particles.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now, ladies and gentlemen, you are now in the inertial reference frame hovering. And as soon as that moon and those stars, as soon as they move one itty bitty bit, say goodnight to the entire heliocentric spinning ball space monkey religion. It's it.
All right for you following Newton's laws about where it applies, where it doesn't, yeah? But that's not globiolis. Like I said, I was on a spinning non-inertial reference frame. I ascended into what I thought was an inertial reference frame, but is actually a velcrotized non-inertial reference frame.
No, it's not.
That's exactly what I'd expect to see.
That's where your point's wrong. You traveled into the inertial.
Oh, bugger.
Can I just make an important point? That within their claim, the moon would still move because the moon moves independently around the globe, but the stars can't. The stars can't move, if you understand what I mean.
No.
The moon is still moving within their claim, but the stars can't.
The stars and moon are simultaneously. Go simultaneously.
Ryan, you're forgetting I'm velcroed the inertial reference frame. Yeah, that's velcroed to the non-inertial reference frame. So the stars, yeah, all you're going to get is the parallax of the moon at this point between the differential of its movement and the star field. And the movement of the star field, of course, being generated by the rotation of the Earth in this nonsense. They would expect the same with globiolis. Sorry.
God. Isn't it interesting that the moon and the stars move simultaneously?
Mm-hmm. So, because the drone is not moving, the drone is just hovering.
Yeah.
And the two stationary inertial things is the landscaping we see, and the drone right there, not going left, right, or anything, from its point of looking at the horizon with the landscaping, with the buildings, and then you see the movement of the celestial bodies. So, I mean, this is powerful right here. Very powerful.
Good job. How many reference frames are we seeing? Well, we're seeing two. But where are they as opposed to what they claim? Is the point? Yeah, we've got and this is the point here. It's taking off from the non-inertial reference frame, moving into an inertial reference frame. It's now in the inertial reference frame. But the thing that's moving is the thing that's moving is the ground supposedly. Yeah, I'm now in the inertial reference frame, so I'm not moving, am I? I've taken off.
You mean being the drone? That is.
Yeah, me and the drone. Yeah, me.
Right.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm now in the inertial. This is their switch, but I'm now in it. What's not moving underneath me that was when I was on it? I was moving when I was on it, weren't I?
Right. And now you're up in the air, and the buildings aren't moving.
So if I'm not on it, should I be moving with the force that it was moving when I was on it with? No. This is a simple answer there, yeah? And I'm not on it, yeah? But if I'm not on it and I'm not moving, surely it should be moving in reference to me. As I look on it from the inertial reference frame, as I look down on the non-inertial moving reference frame, it should be moving, shouldn't it?
Yes.
But it's not, is it?
No.
Is that because I've retained my angular momentum and my tangential velocity?
You can't appeal to angular momentum.
Why is that?
Because you would have to have an inertial reference frame.
Oh, because, yeah. Boom!
So, and the thing about it is that, okay, let's talk about mass. Okay. The atmo.
Define it first.
Don't talk about mass.
Air,
You get
air,
what?
air,
What?
the air, the gases, the oxygen and nitro, whatever, nitrogen. Okay, that with where was supposed to be moving as the secondary, non-inertial,
What?
would be. Well, I'm saying the air that the drone is hovering within, the median, the air is equivalent to from that level of the drone all the way out to where the moon and the stars are moving, right? And
yeah.
And the drone is a solid mass. It's solid. And the only other thing solid in this picture is the earth below that's supposed to be moving. And the drone is no longer on the earth moving. So it's up in the air, but the earth seems to be in the same position because we don't see the little lights of the buildings moving as fast as the moon and the stars. So apparently that means the earth is stationary with the drone hovering.
And the earth
so the planes, huh? So if somebody was standing on the earth looking up at the drone and looking at the moon, that's what I want to talk about. The guy standing under the drone, knowing that the drone is right above him, and he's still 90 degrees with a plumb line right on top of his head below the drone, and he's looking out while we're looking at his drone filming this movement. So he's seeing the moon move and the drone is filming it. But they're both in one spot. So right there, that canceled them out too with their argument. Because that's what I was saying. Who's that person on the bottom that's looking up and can prove that the drone hasn't drifted or moved like the planes they claim? You dig what I'm saying? Because the drone would be the same
That's
thing.
what your brother will say. Your brother will say, yeah, but
exactly.
the air
exactly.
is moving, hence why the drone hovers directly above where it took off. And this
Exactly.
is the point you remind him, how many reference frames have you got then? If the air is lockstep and is rotating with the non-inertial reference frame, surely it's the non-inertial reference frame as well. You've only got movement from the non-inertial reference frame into the non-inertial reference frame in their world. So is that the definition of Coriolis?
Nope.
It can't be. It can't be.
We go back to the law of contradiction, his first parts, yeah, where he shows you all the contradictions. Don't need to do Newton. We're just in the law of contradiction now. The brother's contradicted himself.
Yes.
The way he's reconciled it is to have a lockstep atmosphere rotating at the same rate as the non-inertial reference frame, which means it is the non-inertial reference frame when you move into it, by all description of their mechanical physics that they try to excuse it with. Yeah. So there's no secondary reference frame. So there's no Coriolis.
And see, now he's on the train and he can't even hear this. I wish he could have been still with me with this thing that you just did, QE, with this video. This might have would have lit up a light bulb. Maybe it would have.
Sorry, I forgot about it.
Nah, it's okay. I'll forgive you.
You can always show it, show the video back to him and go to that spot.
Hey, are you putting it up on the main chat?
Am I putting what up on the main chat?
The video that you just showed us.
No, there's not a link. I
okay.
downloaded it. You'd have to just show them this live stream.
Okay, gotcha.
Betty. That's what I thought. Shout out to Tony Wickham. Another super chat. And why, pray tell, would you build stacking towers in a warehouse so high if the earth is spinning? Just a point of reality. Thanks, Tony.
It's like the crate challenge, isn't it? You seen those blokes where they stack milk crates up?
Yes.
Crates up. You have to run up the higher. Yeah? Well, that's exactly the point he's making. Spot on, dude.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Oh, she's back.
I'm here. Yeah,
Don't.
I was already.
Yeah, I know.
He's really quiet as well, compared to everybody else.
Who?
That is.
I know. Betty's quiet. Stop mumbling, Betty.
I will refrain from my.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Speak clearly. Go with it. Go ahead with your question.
I have come to know that planes can only sort of take off from a runway if they have the wind under their wings. Is that true?
If they have,
yeah.
if they have the wind under, yes, that's true. But there's going to be wind under the wings no matter which direction they go. But go ahead.
So if there was that Coriolis effect on the Earth with one-way wind, right? All the landing or the takeoff
Would have to be east.
yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's demonstrably incorrect. All you'd have to do is just go through a couple runways and it's all over.
Yeah.
Well, that goes back to my point. That goes back to the other point. You don't need to bring the airplanes in it. Just walk outside. If you feel north, south, surface winds, it's over. West. Correct?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hell, why don't you just float in a hot air balloon and just sit up there for 3 hours and at Kennedy Airport and end up in LAX in
Catch
3
a
hours.
Dodger game.
They're also different altitudes. Also, it's different. Like you showed in the pictures in the GIFs with the clouds and stuff.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, I know that when you're going up higher, you can maybe move faster because I have been in a balloon, and they said that the wind was so strong that we couldn't go too high because we would end up like, well, maybe outside Holland because it's not that far.
See, in a globe, and a glober would say,
forward.
I guarantee you, Betty, a globe. I guarantee you, Betty, a glober would say, well, the reason why if you go up higher, that you'll end up quicker at a destination. It has nothing to do with the wind blowing you. It has to do because the higher you go, the faster the Earth spins, because the miles of circumference is greater as you go higher. So when it spins, like if you're only 10 feet above, of course, it's going to take longer to get from one end of the block to the other. But if you go up higher, you can be at one end of the block to the other in like 5 seconds. They'll tell you some bull crap like that.
There's a number of issues with that, as demonstrated by Q. First point is then we're claiming that first law violation in terms of increasing energy to increase circumferential speed to stay lockstepedness. So if they invoke that, first of all, they're still braking. There isn't a continuance of energy. There's a rebound energy with gas particles. There isn't a whip and top effect where you go, yeah, go on, gas particle, because I'm spinning. I'm gonna spin you, boy. Yeah,
Jesus.
Move. Did you like that? That's the first part of what they're trying to describe, is to demolish gas behavior, and they do these things, and that fundamentally takes away any claim. Yeah, but if they're going to try and enforce that as you go higher, that's why you're seeing slightly different wind speeds. First of all, wind speeds are higher up you go. The clip QE posed was showing differentials, crossings, mixings of cloud layers going in totally different directions. Now, in kind of a flat Earth understanding, what we've got is different strata of stuff that's moving in different directions. Quite easy to explain. What they've got is what appears to be different strata, or stratospheres, moving in different directions, opposing the first and second law of thermodynamics. The reason they're doing and what you see isn't them moving in different directions. It's all of them moving in lockstepedness with you. Say I'm in the UK, let's go with 650 miles an hour, yeah? East. All of them are moving ultimately east at 650 miles an hour. And what you're experiencing is, because you're moving at 650 miles an hour, 850 miles an hour east, yeah, then what you're experiencing is their differentials in their And this is where it becomes nonsensical in their supposed kinetic energies as it's displayed to you. Because for a gas particle to move anywhere, yeah, it has to, it's driven by its kinetic energy. So for some reason, they've all got an eastward, which is not a vector, by the way, in any way, shape, or form, to apply to a gas particle, moving in an eastwardly direction to give you those winds. It's absolutely farcical in terms of gas law and any kind of common sense once you understand what's being described in its fundamental form. You can maths it up, but fundamentally it's laughable at any intellectual level what's being supposed here. The cause, the effect, so that you don't feel the effect that's happening. I'm done.
Really?
Probably not. If that sounds like a re-invite, Betty, I'm good to go. If that's what he's saying.
So I guess this video where we see the clouds moving, that's illustrating what you were not illustrating, but that's giving an example what you're talking about with the movement of the clouds as we're looking up at the clouds. Huh?
You've not got a 30-mile-an-hour wind lower down, a 400-mile-an-hour wind slightly higher up, 1,000-mile-an-hour wind really high up, which you can all witness in those images. Yeah? No. You've got those differentials, but remember everything, 30-mile-an-hour wind is moving in the UK at 650, is moving at 680 miles an hour, right, east. Yeah, because that's yeah. And then the others, it might be 1,000 minus 650 if it's going in the completely opposite direction. And that's why you witness the same differential that you can only measure in reality, the differential. They ask you to presuppose there's all of these other things. And because you're spinning on the non-inertial reference frame with this wind in lockstepedness, that's why you can measure a 30-mile-an-hour wind instead of a 680, which is what it actually is.
Now let's talk about those flights, commercial flights or whatever, between 30,000 and 40,000 feet, and we're flying. We see those magnificent looking large clouds that just look like, like everything you could dream of, and they're not moving apparently because of the movement of the plane that's going at least 500 miles per hour in whatever direction it's going in your journey.
No. So the reason
I'm saying it looks like they're not moving. They're sitting still, looking like clouds of glory. You know what I'm saying?
It's not because the plane's moving at 5. That's on a flat Earth. They're moving that way at that speed, and you're similar to them. Yeah, but in their world, yeah,
right,
you've taken off, right, at whatever speed. You've got up to cruising altitude. When you took off, the Earth you were moving at, let's call it the equator, was moving at 1,000 miles an hour. So you now keep that tangential speed, flying at 1,000 miles an hour, and so are the clouds, remember, at the equator. And they might be moving at 10 miles an hour to anyone on the ground, but they're really moving at 1,010 miles an hour. Because of gas law not being correct. Yeah. So now that's why you see the clouds moving slowly next to you. Because you're all moving at whatever speeds you can measure, plus 1,000 miles an hour. Assuming you're flying that way. And this is where Huey's brilliance comes in terms of flying the other way. Let's say, Huey, do you want to take this bit? Because I'll only crucify it, and not in a good way. There'll be no salvation for anyone with this. So would you take over and do the analogy? Because this is really important when you actually try to understand the mathematics of what they're claiming.
No, you do it.
No, I'm not going to, because
Adam doesn't want to be crucified. He wants you to be crucified.
no, because if I do it right, I'll get it wrong. Because I want to go to that third reference frame, which is also the same reference frame as the second reference frame.
Oh, God.
In reality, yeah, exactly. So you do it first.
I'm not doing anything.
All right, and don't do it.
Tired.
Hey, round out. We're done.
Betty, round out. We're done. That was classic, man. Really good.
Maybe you Maybe you guys can do this on the next Ballbusters, whenever that is. By the way.
Shut up.
Maybe you should tell the people that there's not a next week.
Yeah, no, next Saturday is not a Ballbusters. No, it'll have to be that after next Saturday.
Why is that, John?
Nathan has a prior engagement.
Blame Nathan's computer. Just blame the computer.
What does that have to do with Ballbusters?
Yeah, Nathan's computer's over here.
Excuse me, I got a quick question. What if it was possible to have a drone that can elevate in altitude between that 30,000 and 40,000 feet? And I'm pretty sure, like you said, the gusts of winds are so powerful that it probably is not going to stay that stationary. But let's say if it had like one of those beams or some type of laser light on it where you can kind of tell if it's in the vicinity of where the person at the other inertial point is looking up, and it's still within that 10 feet around, hanging up, because you can see that light beam coming down and filming the clouds at 30,000, 40,000 feet. What activity would those clouds be doing? Would they be moving or would they be sitting still?
See, how does the drone hover? How does it know what hovering is? And none of these things have got laser things. They don't fix to a point on the ground. The way in which they keep orientated is generally accelerometers. So
yeah, I was just going to say that accelerometers. Yep.
Okay. Right. Okay. All right. But there's some type of detecting mechanism that lets you know that they haven't gone off course hundreds of feet or 10 feet away from your point of where you have your remote control, right?
How do accelerometers work?
I'm not sure. I'm not even going to front.
Yeah, cool. So they require movement, adjustment, and they plot it as a acceleration. Into that initial quote's brilliant, really, in terms of what QE started the show with, in terms of velocity and acceleration. That's how they kind of work. So they'll realize the airflow that hits the drone, the movement, the vector it's created, through the accelerometer feedback, and readjust, realign itself, which is why you'll see it moving a bit, but it keeps hovering. It's that feedback, that force. I hate to use the word. Yeah, nice shot, QE. Yeah, but it's responding. Now, if we take it up to a bit higher, where the winds are still within the capabilities for the drone to correct, it'll correct. Take it up even higher, it'll just fly off in the wind. We're not able to prove anything like that by taking drones up. Yeah, if we take them up to layers where we know the drone won't work, what are we proving? It doesn't prove any. All we're proving is that wind blows it that way. It's past the drone's capacity. Whether we prove that it's past the drone's capacity at 100 mile an hour wind, or whether in reality that's an 1100 mile an hour wind, even to them it doesn't make a difference, because they're in that bubble that everything's lockstepped, which is nonsensical with terms to gas behavior.
So there is no type of aeronautical device like a stealth bomber, any type of device, whether it's from the Air Force or whatever, that can go up between 30,000, 40,000 feet and kind of hover like a helicopter can hover, because of the gusts of winds will continue to push it out of the range of the stationary people on Earth looking up, to be able to look in a screen where a camera can be on that hovering craft, if you will, filming in the most stationary possibility, maybe moving a little bit, 6 feet here, 10 feet here, but not actually just going like a plane goes across, looking out of a moving plane at 500 miles per hour, looking at those clouds at 30,000 to 40,000 feet. But a hovering device, some type of aircraft that can do that same thing.
You're having a problem because you're stating hovering. Globetards can't. They don't that's Swahili to them.
No.
They can't admit to any hover. Why is that?
I don't know.
Because you'd have to define hover. So hover, to float in the air without moving in any direction. That is hovering. They claim that the Atmo and everything in it has an angular velocity. They can't admit that hovering exists in our reality. You follow that?
Mechanically, it doesn't. So by the definition of hovering, what hovering means is to stay in position over a fixed point.
Right.
That's not what's happening in their definition. You're staying over a fixed point that's rotating. So you're staying over the right handlebar of the roundabout as it turns. That's not hovering. You are staying geostationary, I suppose, in their language is the best description of what they're claiming.
So the hovering is the new sort of like horizon being curved thing.
Well, they can't admit that hovering exists, Betty.
Yeah, exactly. Like horizontal, right? That it's flat.
We don't have to do any likedness. It's just they
Yeah,
can't.
but I mean, they have this double speak, newspeak, Orwellian thing going on in their mind.
And apparently people like my brother, I guess you would call him a glober, but let's say the ones that don't really know how to articulate the so-called claims and assertions, like these guys, like, you know, Simon Dam, whatever y'all call them, and
Sci-fi
and Craig.
scam.
Yeah, and you know, fight the tight shirt, sweaty armpit Craig. You know, people like that are different from people like my brother who really don't know how to even parrot what we're talking about, but still they're all in the same family. But I guarantee you my brother knows what hovering means and accepts hovering. So when I say things like that, there's not going to be any kind of dissonance in his mind to be like, hovering, what is that? He'll know what I'm talking about. So that's why I wish he was listening to this, because I'm glad I used the word hovering, because hovering is about as denotative as you could be to the point that I'm trying to make. Hovering. I don't care whether you're 3 inches off the ground or 30,000 feet off the ground. It hovers. You know, I don't know.
Not according to Baltards, that doesn't exist.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, they're programmed to denounce that.
Yep.
That can't be. They know what it is. They're programmed to argue that.
Well, I don't think anyone's brought it up to him. I'm gonna do that maybe this evening. I'll find a Baltard somewhere. I'll go in 24/7 and I'll say, "What's hovering?" I'll try. Let's see how it goes.
Heroes. This drone.
Yes.
What's its? I'm not attacking it. What's its purpose? What would ultimately? We've been talking about reference frames. What are we? What
You mean my experiment? You mean my experiment? What I was talking about? The hovering?
Use that word, QE.
Yeah, don't use that.
Don't use what?
With your, I'm gonna.
Oh, don't use spirit.
With your. Let me help you. I'm going to give a demonstration. Use the word demonstration.
Yes.
Thank you. Got you. No doubt. I caught myself. I'm sorry.
No. I'm going to quote Aries' experiment in a minute. And that's why I want to reference it as a demonstration. What are we trying to achieve when we're doing these things? We're trying to make a distinguishment of reference frames, aren't we? What's moving, what's not.
Absolutely.
And that would be the point of the drone stuff, yeah?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I will quote Aries' failure, which is cited as an experiment, but isn't. But it's a very good demonstration if you follow the laws of natural science and logic. See what it demonstrates to you. So he sets. Oh God, this is going to be hard from the back of my mind, John. But basically, the point of Aries' failure is to decide whether or not we have a rotating non-inertial reference frame of the Earth, or whether we have a stationary fixed Earth and we have a rotating sky field. And they use the way in which light traverses and the difference between it and air as it hits a telescope. And obviously when we look through a telescope, we've only got the lens as a difference. We adjust for that, but normally through air it will come straight through. If we were to fill the telescope with water, and the speed of the light would decrease. Now, oh God, come on, get my head right. I'm going to get this the wrong way round, aren't I, John? If the Earth were moving, okay, as the starlight hits the top of the telescope, the point of refraction that would occur, it's the incidence angle and the differential difference. If the Earth is moving, will have an effect so that it will hit the telescope at a later point, because as it hits the new medium and begins to travel slower, if the medium is traveling itself, it will hit at a different point as opposed to the previous focus point without water. If the Earth is not moving, then all that will happen is the light will hit the telescope, traverse down the telescope at a slightly lower speed, the differential between light in water and air, but still hit at the same point. And this is why it's called a failure, because it was supposed to show that the Earth was rotating, but it didn't. Nothing happened. The light hit at the same point, demonstrating that it's the star field that must be rotating, yeah, not the gathering field, not that reference frame. So with Airy's failure, go on, Brian.
I was just saying that the main point with it was he didn't need to change the angle of the telescope like he thought he would have to. He was sure he'd have to change the angle of the telescope to match a rotation. But when he didn't have to do that, that meant the telescope could just stay stationary because it wasn't rotating.
Exactly, yeah. So he didn't, I said, in terms of in focus. So, and in showing that in that demonstration, we can use logic, and we could, just like we would demonstrate Coriolis effect, we could demonstrate which is moving with regards to telescopes and star fields. We could show that demonstration. It's not an experiment. But logic and natural law dictate to us only one conclusion if we're asking which reference frame is stationary and which is moving. So that's the end of that ramble, D-Rose. But hopefully that addresses the point of no need for drones.
Oh, okay. I got you.
All right, guys, we're going to round out. Adam, take us home.
You bugger. I had a feeling.
No. I ain't going to do that to you this time.
Betty, please save me.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
If Adam has to take us home, he will take us like on a tour and then bring us home.
So be it. What the hell? Right. Where have we been today?
Where have we been today?
I think it's worth a worthy summary today. It's a really important point.
Don't put me on the spot, Adam.
Want me to do it then?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go and get a banana, Betty.
Go get a banana. Thanks.
Genuinely, like the reason we chatted this week, and I said, please, just is because I've wasted my time. No, I haven't really. I enjoyed it because it's maths. But the argument is, what's the word to quote Flatsoid? Mute. It is mute. It's a mute point because it has no point. All of the maths we did, Brian, yeah, all of the differential globiolis crap is debunked because these guys rely on Newton. Okay, and they're claiming a rotating non-inertial reference frame, which is not where Newton says his laws apply. It applies to an inertial reference frame. End of, right?
Yep.
So for all the crap we've had to deal with, as much as they trying to figure out what they were claiming, because John's 5-punch what is it? Kill Bill move.
The Kill Bill one, yeah.
His 5-punch Kill Bill move. Points the complete contradiction as they try willfully, and I like to say, it's not idiocy. This is lies. This is just deceit. Yeah? As they try to show that Coriolis isn't Coriolis. It's this complete mismatch of what they claim Coriolis is and how it applies to the ball. And the only excuses the cognists can have is the mathematicians. It's this mismatch that I say is it. The first bit is the key. I love. Oh, I know I'm rambling. I'm sorry, but the first bit is brilliant because that's. I bet he got that banana down yet.
You were sort of rounding out and take us a little bit on a tour and get back to the point.
That's it. I'm coming back there. I was just about there because I just realised I was wandering off. I was thinking about.
I'm thinking that you're bringing us through alleys that have nothing to do with the tour at all.
Oh, it's all Coriolis, the thing I hate most. And this is the point. Yeah, I hate this bloody subject. It's always done my head in because it leads you down alleys that you wanted to do. And this was the point. We've been down those alleys, even with the maths. We don't need to because the maths they claim, yeah, are Newton's. And Newton says you can't use them there. Yeah. And that's all we need to use moving forwards. That's the reality. Just highlight the point that, respectfully, myself and lots of other people missed that QE made many years ago. But it's the only point that's needed. You can't use the maths. If the inventor of the maths says you can't use them, once you're on a roundabout and it's moving, it don't work, does it? Because I'm done.
Yeah, somebody just posted the vestibular system on the chat here, a live stream. But the vestibular system doesn't detect motion. That was something I was taught growing up, that it detects motion. It doesn't. It detects acceleration. Big difference. And we are able to detect acceleration pretty easily. We're not very good at detecting velocity. All we can do with velocity is measure that relative motion with respect to something else.
Oh, yeah.
Well then, doofus Danny, the dipshit astronomer, since the Earth in your ball-tart spinning space monkey religion is rotating, hence has an angular velocity, ergo the Earth is constantly accelerating, and
we are able to detect acceleration pretty easily.
Can you please explain to us why we can't detect it easily? Por favor?
You are so dumb. Damn.